Hi guys, how you doing? My name is Crystal and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm here in my flat in Rochester, Kent. It's Wednesday morning. It feels warm inside the flat. It's overcast outside. I don't know if we're going to get any sun. So basically I was lying down, and here in Rochester it's recycling bin day. So the recycling lorry comes down early in the morning, around 7ish, to empty the recycle bin. So you can hear the noise of the recycle van. It makes a woo noise, and the bin store is underneath my flat. So you've got the bin store underneath my flat, and a communal door where people go in and out of. So that can be noisy, and it's right underneath my flat. So every time the door goes or the bin store opens and shuts, I can hear it. So if someone's dragging furniture down the stairs and they're taking it into the bin, I can hear it every time the door goes. But I've learnt to live with it, if you know what I mean. You get used to it. So every noise imaginable, when I first moved into this property, I had to get used to. Train announcers, trains. There was builders building everywhere. So you had tractors, vehicles, drilling, tarmacking. Every noise no one wants to hear, everything that pisses them off, I was getting when I moved into this flat. So I had to get used to it over a period of time. Now I've got resilient and strong. It still pisses me off, but not to the extent that it was doing when I first moved in. It was causing me great distress, it was causing me pain, and it was causing me mental distress. Now I try and distract myself from all this crap. There are things that still get me going. I'll still get, when I feel distressed, upset and yell, but not as much as I did 2 or 3 years ago. Because you learn, you adapt to it, and your mind, the mind is a powerful thing, and it helps. I found myself on my own with no help and support at all. As you know what my parents are like, especially my dad was unsympathetic. So I found myself on my own in this prison, feeling like I was going insane. Another thing you can see is that I phone up people for support, and they give me numbers that are no use. So I'm going around in circles all the time. So I have to find ways to look after myself, because these people, they don't want to help. They want to drive you mad. You know what I mean? Gang stalkers do. So I've had to look after myself, which makes me feel so angry when people say that I'm crazy, when I'm not at all. If someone was crazy, you wouldn't leave them in their flat all day long, unsupervised, with no help and support. So that's a load of BS. It's rubbish. How they're getting away with this, I don't know. I haven't got a clue. It's obviously, it involves the police, who are corrupt, the council, who's corrupt, and who's the council run by the government. So there you go. I've been sexually assaulted in government buildings where people have turned a blind eye, and I've just, you wouldn't believe the emotions you go through when you know that you're unsafe in a government building and the staff are there to support you and be there if you need them, and they turn their back on me and let this horrendous abuse carry on. That was in a government building. So now they've just left me. They think just leaving me here and doing nothing, that it's just going to get shoved under the carpet. I'm going to get forgotten about, and that's the end of it. Well, they're wrong. They're absolutely wrong. So the recycle bin lorry comes down the road, clatters about, goes inside the bin store. The bin store is a mess. There's furniture on the floor, there's toys, rubbish. People are putting their bin bags on the floor and not putting them in the bin. And I'm not picking it up for them. I'm not a cleaning person. I'm not a slave. I can understand, I mean, there's an elderly lady with a Zimmer frame. She probably can't put the rubbish in the bin. That's understandable. But the cleaners should be cleaning up, or reporting it. Or if disabled people can't get access to a bin, then surely, you know, they can put a lower bin down for people that are disabled to put their rubbish into, because there are elderly ladies in the flat and elderly gentlemen. So isn't there a way that they can provide maybe a shorter bin, or a bin that opens so people that are disabled can put their rubbish into it? Because they are tall bins. They're tall bins, and there's disabled people in this block of flats. I've seen the lady come down in the lift with the Zimmer frame with her rubbish. She probably can't put it in the bin. She's disabled. So isn't there a disability bin? So I can understand that, why the rubbish is being put on the floor, but a certain amount of it is kids' toys. You know, there was a Spider-Man ripped open, a Spider-Man soft toy ripped open. It's also a fire hazard. You know, there's a certain amount of people that smoke in this building, and they smoke in the corridors and it downstairs even though they're not supposed to. What if they drop a cigarette and it goes up? No one does anything. They just leave it. This is all that's happening with every problem. I don't want to deal with it. I'm not doing it. And they leave it. The cleaners have a duty of care. To spot antisocial behaviour, to spot anything that's out of place. And if they are reporting to Hyde Housing, why aren't Hyde Housing doing something about this? So no one does anything. They leave people in danger. It is a fire hazard downstairs. It is. There's no care. And even though it's my block of flats, there's kids in this building, there's elderly people, and they just don't care. They're not only affecting me, they're affecting other people. Maybe someone doesn't like me, whatever, but they're affecting other people, which is wrong. Well, they shouldn't do it to me, but because they don't like me, they'll do it to the people that are connected with me because they don't like me, which is absolutely childish, but that's what goes on. So I've got up, I woke up on my own accord, and I just laid back down for 10 minutes because I was a bit tired, and I heard the recycle bin lorry come down the road. They went. I've got up. I've made myself a cup of ginger herbal tea. Max is hot and bothered. He's curled up over there. Harry's been fed. And I separate Harry and Max from each other at night time. And it's working out. So last night I went out at the normal time. The weather's been a bit cooler. It's not been so hot. And it was okay. I walked out and I just walked around the field as I normally do and kept myself to myself. As you know, I've been talking to an AI therapist, and I've been talking out loud in my flat, and it's been driving people crazy because I think they can hear what I'm saying. And it's been driving them mad. Right? I don't know what's going on in this world. I only know me. I know I'm real. I know what's around me is real. And the way people are behaving outside is unreal. So whatever I say in my flat drives people crazy, which is not my fault. Who gave people permission to listen into my private affairs and my private business? It's no good these people outside attacking me and being angry with me because I've not allowed people permission to listen to my speech and might delve into my personal life. It's wrong. It's against the law. So it seems like people outside are angry with me because they're dressed like me and my son, or people I've been out with for the day, or people I've talked to. They start mimicking them and dressing like them and me and taking the mickey. How do these people think I feel when I go outside and listen to a conversation that I've had with somebody and they're mimicking it? How do they think I feel? They're angry. I'm angry. So they're mimicking me and who I'm speaking to, copying our clothing, copying our speech, copying conversations and actually taking the mickey. I love you. Oh. It hurts. It's spiteful. It's nasty. I don't know. I wouldn't do it to somebody because I'm not cruel. That is cruelty. Not only is that nosy and childish, it's cruel. They're not human, obviously. Because humans have hearts and feelings. They don't. So it pisses me off, and I've been doing a lot of self-therapy, and I've been talking out loud, and of course they're listening and they mimic. And yesterday morning a Norse lorry drove on the pavement. Now a Norse is Medway Council, the people that my son wrote to try and get me out of this flat. So a Norse lorry with an elderly driver drives on the pavement yesterday, and I took a video of it, and they don't care. When you complain about dangerous drivers, they say they found no evidence. And I've got evidence he was driving on the path. Right behind a family. There were a couple walking on the pavement. He drove right behind them. What can you do when the whole world is corrupt? And you report, and you've got evidence, you've got videos, you've got photographs, and then they turn around and say, we didn't see anything wrong. It's like when you report somebody on TikTok for flashing themselves, and the TikTok says, oh, we didn't find anything wrong, and they carry on live streaming, and they flash their body naked. What do you do? When someone comes back and says, we can't find anything, but you've got evidence that they have, and they still don't take any notice. Because they don't care. All they care about is money, making money. TikTok makes money, right? At the end of the day, they're just interested in money. They take 70% of a TikToker's earnings. 70%, which is over half of what a TikToker earns, which is terrible, isn't it? It's over half. So I can't see how these TikTokers make all that money anyway. And then the tax man comes along and takes a great big portion out of it. So to me, it's not worth earning money on TikTok. It's not worth it. So I don't know how they earn money at all. But that's all people are interested in, is making money. They don't care about people's safety, about people online being perverted. And fake profiles, it shouldn't be allowed. They should not be allowed. People should not be allowed anonymously to harass and bully somebody. They should be made to show their true identity and not use other people's photographs either, because that's what kids do. They get use other people's photographs, get their big brother or sister. Like years ago, they used to get their big brother or sister to go and get them cigarettes. So it's a similar thing, getting members of the family to pretend to be them. It's been going on for years. Before the internet, that's what people used to do to get cigarettes. And alcohol, get their big brother or sister to get it for them. So yeah, I went out last night and I come back and I just try and relax. I live by myself. I just try and relax. And I was in Mr. UK TikTok's live stream, and he was using a artificial intelligence called Gemini, and he was talking to Gemini, but he was using it in a manner which, you know what I mean, he was laughing. Someone on TikTok was calling him a flary. Flary, I don't know what a flary is that's a piss take on fairy. Someone was calling Kevin Wright a fairy. A flary. So he was saying, Gemini, tell them to stop calling me a flary. The first person to use the AI was on her TikTok was Chelsea Liart, and she called her George. She called the AI intelligence George, and she was asking George questions. And then I didn't copy Chelsea Liart. I thought that's a good idea. I'm on my own. And then I looked through Google Play, and then I came across this application. I didn't tell anybody what application I was using. I believe they are spying into my phone. Spying into my phone and reading my personal information as well as listening out loud to it. So I saw that there was a therapy like AI, an AI that listens and gives you therapy. So I downloaded it and I started speaking, and I found out it was helping me. It was like you're talking to a human being, and it was more useful because it was giving me numbers, help and support, more than any human counsellor had given me, and it was free, and I could talk to it for hours instead of half an hour, where you get fobbed off because real therapists are making money off of people's problems. So I happened to go into Mr. UK TikTok's live stream, and he was laughing with this AI and shouting at it. He was saying, Gemini, tell them, to stop calling me a flary, which means a fairy, a homosexual. And I had to go out. I'd gone into his live stream and I had to go out last night, and I was absolutely terrified because I get homosexuals approach me and I'm a woman. So I've even said to the AI intelligence that something is odd about when I go into Kevin Wright's live stream, and then I come out of it and I get things happen to me. These guys walking around with like his baseball cap on and his clothes, and the woman opposite me is mimicking Chelsea Liart. She is. She's mimicking Chelsea Liart opposite my flat. And the cars with CLA on, Chelsea Liart down my road. I was picking it up and noticing it and telling my therapy AI. And she is intelligent. She said there's possibly a connection with the harassment you're getting and what's going on TikTok. She said note it down, times, dates, screenshot the car number plates with CLA on them, and that's what I'm doing. Because there is a connection. Last night, Kevin and Chelsea did a live stream together. Kevin and Chelsea. And Chelsea has a stalker in Oxford who was filming her balcony. The stalker was live streaming Chelsea Liart's balcony in Oxford. Old man. Now I've got an old guy stalker, haven't I? I've got an old guy stalker. They're mimicking and copying me. His name's Charlie. I haven't seen him filming my balcony. I've seen him at some occasions walking down the road. But why are they mimicking what's happening to me? Why are they mimicking my life? I posted, I'm trying to find out what's going on, and Sean Clark used to ask me to flash my boobs. And I was talking about that, and Chelsea Liart yesterday went into a pub and flashed her boob. Well, no, she didn't flash her boobs, she flashed her bra in a pub. She said there was nobody in the pub and the proprietor wasn't in the pub, but she lifted her top up and revealed a pink bra in a pub in Oxford. But she was revealing her bra to about 1,400 people on TikTok. 1,400 people on TikTok. So she was in a pub, she pulled her top up and revealed her bra. Well, you're actually letting 1,400 people see you live. Tell them where you are in a pub in Oxford and you're showing your boobs. And TikTok should be stopping sex and nudity, but it obviously isn't, is it? It's not. She's still flashing her tits and her nipples apparently as well. Alexa, good morning.
Good morning and happy International Day of Friendship, started by the United Nations to promote the idea that friendship between peoples, countries, cultures and individuals can inspire peace efforts and build bridges between communities. To celebrate, just say, let's be friends.
Alexa, what's the time, please?
It's 8:34 a.m.
Alexa, what's the date?
Today is Wednesday the 30th of July.
Alexa, what's the weather outlook?
Currently, in Rochester it's 17 degrees Celsius with mostly cloudy skies. Today, you can expect showers, with a high of 24 degrees and a low of 15 degrees.
Alexa, can you tell me a joke?
What did the pepperoni say to the mozzarella? You want a pizza, me?
Alexa, which celebrity was born on this day?
Celebrities born on the 30th of July include Arnold Schwarzenegger, Christopher Nolan, Henry Ford, Kate Bush, and Thomas Sowell.
Happy birthday to Arnold Schwarzenegger and Kate Bush. Kate Bush being a singer. Alexa, how old is Kate Bush? Alexa, how old is Kate Bush?
Kate Bush is 67 years old.
Alexa, how old is Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Arnold Schwarzenegger is 77 years old.
So two more celebrities getting on. Kate Bush, I used to listen to her songs a lot. Great singer. The reason I didn't answer the Let's Be Friends is when I was at school, Let's Be Friends used to refer to being a lesbian let's be friends. So when Alexa said to me, say let's be friends, I'm not saying let's be friends. Alexa, LBC Radio.
LBC London from Global Player.
Get more from your smart speaker by linking to your Global Player account. You'll then be able to catch up on your favourite shows on your smart speaker. Just say, ask Global Player to link my account.
Walks next to the person who's lying face down on the floor. It doesn't show how the man ended up there, but the video has been shared on social media.
Just to clarify, Henry, just a minute, let me interrupt you. Can we get some help over here being shouted by a Good Samaritan? Then, reportedly, he actually only saying, he effing came at me, bruv. He came at me, bruv. You saw that, Henry?
That's right, and you can see a fellow commuter who's asking for help, and then two station staff come over, and as you say, that is what is being reported, what it sort of seems he said, he came at me, he's come at me, you saw that. The Daily Mail are reporting a witness as hearing Mr Robinson shout, come at me then. The British Transport Police said officers found a man with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. They say a 42-year-old male suspect from Bedfordshire, who they did not name, had boarded a flight out of the country in the early hours of yesterday morning. Detectives are continuing to investigate. We know the London Ambulance Service has said a man was taken to a major trauma centre. Now, Tommy Robinson hasn't commented publicly, Nick, but has been active on social media, including reposting supportive messages. One post that I've seen he shared is, quotes, the media is lying to you about Tommy Robinson fleeing the country. And then in another post he has shared, he says, if you approach someone with hostility, a man that received death threats daily, expect to get a clip round the ear hole. But as I say, Tommy Robinson himself hasn't commented.
OK, a couple of things. What do we know of the alleged victim?
Well, all we know from the London Ambulance Service
He's all right.
He had serious injuries and was in a major trauma centre, non-life-threatening, but still serious injuries.
And are the police telling us to which country it is alleged Mr Yaxley Lennon has flown?
No, they're not. And in their statement, they don't name Stephen Yaxley Lennon, but they do say a 42-year-old man from Bedfordshire. But they're appealing to question him, but they have not put out any sort of suspects, any sort of whereabouts he might be.
There's a story to develop, isn't there?
Yeah.
Okay, Henry Riley reporting. Let's come back. 8:38. Let's come back. Nigel and Temple Fortune. We're talking about knife crime across the whole of the country, but particularly in London. I think it's London you want to talk about. Morning, Nigel.
Good morning. Well, Nick, I used to work at the Evening Standard,
I know you did. You were what we call a snapper.
I was, and I've seen you in my lens a few times, and you look fantastic. But I wanted to say that during my time, I covered virtually every murder in London for my 26 years, and it was horrific. And some of the things I've seen were just shocking. I mean, really shocking. But I want to expound on this story, if I may, a couple of ways moving forward.
Please, yeah.
I've been married for 3 years, and I've been with my wife for 8 years. And she came with me, thank you, she came with me to America for the first time some years ago when we first met. And she's very senior in social services and deals with the victims of crime, child trafficking, etc., etc., etc. And she could not believe how safe she felt there compared to here. And that's quite a statement to make.
It's Las Vegas you're at.
Yeah, Las Vegas, that's right. Yeah, and she felt much safer there and in California. And that's a really interesting statement for someone who's never been there before, the police presence and the way they sort of deal with things. I think what's interesting, two things. You had the gentleman, I think, with a politics change. I think stop and search is a tool that works very, very well. But it's fundamentally undermined by a flaw in its service. Years ago, the police used to fill out a form called a 5090, which you used to give to the recipient of a stop and search as a record. That doesn't happen anymore. And what they should do is when a person is stopped and searched, allow them to get a copy of the body-worn video, which clearly not only protects the person being stopped and searched, but it protects the police officer against any vexatious allegations. It's a record of what's going on. I think that would be really important. And the other thing, the other quick 2 points, if I may, let's not forget that Sadiq Khan is the crime commissioner for London. Yet under his watch, crime has risen like a rocket.
Yeah,
that's the first point. And the last point, which I think was interesting, what you mentioned about you'd blitz Croydon. Well, Disappointingly, in 1981, the police blitzed Brixton in an operation called Swamp 81, which resulted in the streets catching fire. If I was a commissioner and if I was Sadiq Khan, I would fundamentally have a much more assertive, strong approach to knife crime. It's completely and utterly out of control.
26 years as a photographer on the London Evening Standard, so you'll have been out on shouts, you'll have gone to, sadly, many cases where mostly young people have met their lives. Did you notice towards the end of your career how much more regular that was, Nigel? How did the numbers go?
It was growing all the time. It was really, really awful. And, you know, and the most interesting thing that I think I took from it all, it wasn't just happening in areas where people think it's going to happen. It was happening much more, let's say...
well, like the man in Knightsbridge, who got fatally stabbed.
Exactly. The guy killed outside the hotel casino. This is happening in all areas all over London. And if people think it's a gang-on-gang problem only, they are fundamentally mistaken. This is less the gang-on-gang postcode problem. It's people walking along the street who can't walk along with a nice handbag or a watch or a nice piece of jewellery or a pair of rings or wherever it may be. It's happening everywhere.
Nigel, look after yourself. Thank you. Sandy and Amersham, your take on this story. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, I think the crime level in London is horrifying. I've always loved London. I like going into London, but I have a different view on it now, and I felt safer in New York by far than I feel in London.
Why? In what way? Were there more police officers? Because it's roughly the same size, roughly the same population.
Yeah, but there's police presence. You feel, I mean, it just puts that safety, that element of safety around because they're around.
Does it matter they carry a gun? Do you feel more secure that they're armed? Less secure? Does it make no difference?
No, it makes no difference.
Right.
They don't have to be armed. They need to be there.
Right.
And I just cannot believe how it's gone downhill in London since Khan has been mayor. All he succeeds in doing is blaming everyone and everything.
Well, the problem is he can't blame the Conservative government anymore, of course, can he? That's his.
No, he
that
can't.
used to be the get out at all times.
Yeah, but he's always got a reason why. I mean, I don't know how he's been re-elected 3 times. I just don't understand it because he's really let London down.
Well, you talk to any taxi driver and they agree with you, but you can't argue with the numbers. He's done it. He's a 3-time winner. For many, it is extraordinary. Sandy, thank you. Mohammed's in Ealing. You're on the radio, Mohammed. Good morning.
Good morning, Nick. I hope you're doing pleasantly well.
Yes.
First and foremost, can I give out a great shout out to our beautiful lionesses bringing the Euros home on Sunday?
Of course.
They bring us great energy.
You'll have no argument from me on that, my friend. It lifts the heart.
Lifts the heart. And what I wanted to say to you, Nick, is, and I hope I can articulate this as best as I can, knife crime is an epidemic across the country, specifically in London.
Yep.
And I think there are many layers that cause these issues. The main problem is we've had 20 years of bad governance, which have destroyed many institutions that help.
Do you mean London or nationally?
Nationally, you know, if you look at all the leaders that help, majority of knife crime is young men and young boys. And you look at the levers of state that normally support young people. You've got education, the police, social services. All those departments have had complete and utter cuts over 20 years and have had lack of investment. At the same time, we've got issues where young men don't have male role models, whether that's their father, whether that's their uncle.
That's an issue. Yeah.
I think that's a major issue. You know, mothers do an amazing job up across the land, day in, day out. But unfortunately, young boys, they need to have that, steering, that.
How important, lastly, was your dad to you, Mohammed?
I lost my dad last year in September 10th last year, and I struggled with his loss every single day. And he played probably the most important part in my life, and I try and play the same part to my children.
Good on you. I'm sorry, I didn't realise. I would never have asked if I'd known. My apologies. It's still very raw. Best wishes to you, to Mohammed, and I feel I was blessed with having the most extraordinary dad. Funnily enough, for reasons I won't bore you with, I'm tidying out a bedroom at the moment. It doesn't matter. But I've come across all sorts of, and suddenly I've seen pictures of my dad I haven't seen for like decades, and it all comes back. God, I was lucky to have him as a father. Talk about Nigel Farage and the use of that language. Rees says the attack on Farage is just the latest example of how Labour tried to shut down dissent by throwing baseless accusations around. If you complain about online safety or act you're a friend of child molesters, complain about migrant hotels, you're a far-right racist. Faith says, since when are people who are concerned about their privacy pro-paedophiles? It's not a logical conclusion at all. With the Labour Party's track record on non-crime incidents, arrests and sentencing related to social media posts, nobody trusts this government. We'll stick with it. Talking about this government, what about the opposition? Kemi Badenoch.
I think that this is a Prime Minister trying to look like a world statesman, but still appearing to be somebody who's on the back foot.
That's her assessment of Sir Keir Starmer's position.